Now today's fly is freshwater shrimp, Gammarus. They're very common in most rivers. They're a staple diet of trout in most rivers. And today I'm going to tie it on a size 10 curved hook, or grub hook if you like. You can tie it in various sizes, 10, 12, 14, some of them grow really big, they can go up and even into size 8, but sort of 10 and 12 is the most common size. And I'm going to start off here by putting on some of this lead wire here. Its size is 0.60 millimeters. Now, wind on about 10 or a dozen touching turns of lead wire. And I try to center it in the shank of the hook. The thread I'm using here today is a uni thread. It's in black and 8/0. This is the size. I tie here just in front of the lead wire, and then down over the back, and tie a few turns just behind it here, just to keep it in place. You can put a spot of super glue if you like on at this point just to hold it in place, but not really necessary if you just put enough thread on like this. Follow the thread down around the bend of the hook. Now the next material I'm going to use is this golden olive wire here, and the size on that, I think it comes in letters, is BR, and I just break off a couple of inches of that. Alright, tie in that wire, secure it in place, and then back down to my original position again. The next thing I tie in is use a plastic bag, and you can see the shapes that I've already cut out. This is the shape for a size 10. It's sort of like a spearhead shape. Let's cut out a piece like that. Now that's actually doubled, you can see there. Now one piece will do, but I'm just going to tie in the two pieces. If one breaks, then I always have one left. So tie that in there at the back of the hook. Now, the next material is this stuff here. Mylar, 1/16 of an inch wide. And I tie that in just there. I keep missing it. Now, with all three of those secured, the next step is to apply the dubbing. Now the dubbing I use here is olive dubbing. And it's actually an olive dubbing mixed with hare's ear. Now, the olive dubbing I used was came from this box here, super fine. It's just got sparkle through it, and I mix it with hare's ear, and it gives a nice olive colour, which is the predominant colour of this little crustacean. Although apparently later on in the year, in September time, they actually go slightly red when they're breeding. Apparently they have sort of reddy orange colour, so it might be wise to remember that for the future. Anyway, in this case I'm using the olive dubbing, and I apply nice thick rope, about 3 inches long I suppose. Now, touching turns. Stretch that out a little. Now, pull the mylar over the top, pinch it into place, tie it in. 5 or 6 tight turns. Trim off the waste. Now put a half hitch or 2 on there just to make sure it doesn't slip. Now the next part is to use the little piece of plastic bag to create the shell back. And what I do is I pinch it back here at that point. Try and hold it if I can, because if you put the strain on the very back where it's tied in, it'll tend to break. So I pinch it there and I stretch it over the back like that. It requires a little dexterity to do this. And then tie that in just there in front, or just behind the eye of the hook. A few turns, and again give it a half hitch. Hold everything in place. Now I trim off the waste here. Now there are products you can use instead of the plastic bag, but they don't work any better. I don't think they're called shell back and scud back and various different names. But I find the plastic bags works just fine with the miler underneath. Now, the wire in open turns. And tie it in again, just at the head of the fly. Cut the wire off. Now I like to create quite a big head on this fly. And we'll finish it. Now I'm going to apply some of this. Most fly tires will be familiar with this stuff. It's hard as nails varnish. It's got many uses. Apply a little to the thread. And I just flipped it off, but now let's put on more. And we might finish there. Now, what I like to do to give it a little extra translucence is use the hard as nails varnish on the back, like that. Give it a coat, allow it to dry, and maybe a second or even a third coat. And with the use of a double needle, we can just pluck out some of the fibres here at the front. Gives the impression of legs, and you'll find over time that when you catch a couple of fish on it, the dubbin tends to loosen up anyway, and the fly gets better the more bedraggled it becomes. So that's your freshwater shrimp, and a very effective fly it is.